Okay, all yours.
Okay, so good afternoon to everybody. We have an interesting topic today, I guess. I would say everybody of you is keen to get that point at one point in time, as we'll be saying actually with our last slide, but you will be there, don't worry. I have no doubt that majority of you, not majority, should we say all of you, especially together with us, will make it. So what are we talking today about is kind of about thesis submission and a little bit about how it goes, what has to be done, how long does it take. I guess that's another one which is quite important, not to get too nervous. So as we said, what are we trying to do today is kind of trying to discuss with you, okay? Really come with questions, as many as you have, that you will be kind of really understanding the process which runs at most of the universities. I mean, I cannot say now for every single university how the process is running, but that would be kind of a common overview how the submission process of your thesis runs. And another thing, what I would like to say is actually about the time. I guess that's extremely important as well, because sometimes, I would say not sometimes, should I say all the time, the students get extremely nervous after they have submitted. They wanted to have actually the results tomorrow morning, not in the morning, then definitely by the evening. I will have to disappoint you because it is really not running that fast. So let us try to answer the following question today, kind of, that we will understand how the process of submission as well as examination. I have split actually everything in two parts. The first part will be talking about, or we will be talking about the submission, and the second one rather about the examination process. And then definitely the question is, probably you don't have to know right now, but at one point it's probably quite interesting and good that you start thinking how you should be actually submitting, what you have to do, what is the process in order to be kind of ready and not to confuse there. I mean, I hope that your HDR or PhD or DBA, I don't know how those offices are called, will help you, but still, I guess it's quite good that you have, all of us have actually a little bit overview, because it is another part of work. And at the end, we are all of us, I mean, almost there. So that shows here that we are almost there, but we are not there yet. Okay, don't forget, when we are submitting, we are not there. And one of my last sentences will be talking probably about that as well. So how long can it take? So the answer is long, okay? Too long in most of the cases, but that does not mean that you have to be kind of nervous, because at one point the results will be coming in, and hopefully you will be at that point crossing the line and be there. So let us first maybe start with when can I or when can you submit? And once again, as I said, please come with questions. It makes it actually much more interesting whenever I'm sweating based on your questions than just sweating what I'm preaching. So please come with questions. I put here not before. So the question was, when can I submit? And the answer was here kind of not before the thesis is completed and follows the university guidelines. Each of the university has guidelines, policies, and different actually documents which will be talking about the thesis structure. I mean, I put here something what is kind of totally clear, but they will do that. They will check actually your title page. They will check how you have written your abstract. They will check actually the table of contents. How you have written the acknowledgements in a way as well. Then all the other chapters, okay? All of them have to be kind of there as they have kind of requested. And let us go a little bit more maybe into detail what I think with that. I'm not sure, as I said, once again, how you see that. is that much or is that not too much? But usually we are with DBAs around 40 to 60,000 words. And we are then with PhDs between 80, 100, up to 100,000 words. I mean, at one point, I was reading a PhD where the lady wrote 450 pages. Okay, that's definitely too much. And at that university, this 100 or 100,000 words limit was not there. Then you will have to follow the guidelines regarding the content of your thesis. So here different things will be done, how you are actually, maybe even some of you, I don't know if anybody will do that, present your DBA or PhD based on, DBAs are actually not possible, but PhD based on papers, let's say 3 papers and then introduction. That would be, here we are dealing actually with the things, how the previous, let's say, of your published work can be actually included and things like that. Then the language is another thing. I mean, most of the universities are using the, let's say, country language, but many international universities are requesting English language. And I have pushed my students actually, even though they were actually kind of mother language was something else, a university language was something else, I have pushed them actually to write in English. I have even had to fought for them that they were able to write in English, but then publishing was so much easier. So think of that as well. I mean, most of you are anyway, probably associated with English speaking universities, but still, if you are not, think of that. It makes sense actually to do it in English language. So arrangement or formatting, as I mentioned, title page, abstract, sequence of chapters are at some universities a little bit different. Sometimes even methodology comes before the literature review and things like that. Regarding typing, what are the margins? What are the fonts? Where you put actually your numbers of the pages? Additionally, printing, binding, you know, before you are actually kind of really submitting the final one, and especially if it goes into, let's say, viva, if it goes to examiners, sometimes they want to have printed versions, but definitely not, you know, the books yet, but kind of as a I don't know, you can, you know, when we just open those things actually when we were reading, let's say, whenever we are getting paper version and things like that, then you will have to think a little bit about the pictures, figures, illustrations, as well as kind of copyright issues. Everything is actually mentioned in most of the policies, so take care of it, check it, because if that will not be kind of really following the guidelines, following the policies, the HDR office will not let you go and not let you submit. Think about that. For me, even more important part is actually the second point we are discussing right now, but that is actually really actually on you. The requested quality level of a DPA or PhD thesis, and I'm trying to kind of link that to the contribution to literature. So that has to be there. That has to be there. That is probably the most important part of everything. What even not, I would say, the university is kind of keen that you get that, definitely, but you will be judged or examined actually through that by your examiners. So you really have to understand that the quality level and final contribution to literature, which is seen through your discussion, which is seen through your contributions, has to be there. Don't forget that. Extremely important. But that is on you, okay? That means that's why I said you should not submit it to your supervisors before you are really sure that it has reached actually a good level of contribution, good level of uniqueness, a good level of novelty. And that's the stage when you are actually going to your supervisors. I mean, it depends. I have no idea, as I said, how your relation to your supervisors is. I usually do it based on a chapter by chapter basis. So I'm not kind of surprised that I get 8 chapters and then I'm kind of worried or unhappy or whatsoever. I do it based chapter on chapter, but still the final version, even if we have had 3, 4, even sometimes 5, let's say readings and feedback rounds, at one point we will say that's now the final draft, which will be kind of sent to your supervisory team. And then they will kind of check it as a whole once again, because that's important. You know, if you read it by chapter, you see it in a different way. But when you have everything, and usually we read it, I do that within 2 days, because, you know, I don't want to be distracted. I just take 2 days, read actually the PhD or DBA and give feedback. Yeah, and if that was not there, okay, then you will be suffering. So I hope it will be there, and through your work with your supervisors, you will reach actually that stage quite fast. The next stage then is usually, I mean, language proofreading. Is it English or something else? Okay, that we not have to discuss about it, but it is language proofreading. And please, really, I'm serious right now and extremely nervous. Proofreading means English language proofreading, nothing else. I just had an issue with even one of my students. I guess it went a little bit farther. And in one case, it was strange that it was, there was another case 2 months ago. It is really kind of a reliable editing service. And in my opinion, they were kind of editing, should I say, a little bit too much. So I requested the student and I said, it should be only English language. So go back and accept only English language suggestions, changes, or whatever it is, nothing else. Okay, so important. And you have to talk to your supervisors at what stage you can have proofreading. Usually it's written in the policy that after the supervisory team has approved it, you can go actually for proofreading, but not before. So be actually clear on that as well. Don't make the mistake because that can cause you really, really a lot of headache. After that, it's usually the similarity or plagiarism test, you know, Turnitin or some other tools which are checking the similarity, plagiarism, let's say, issues. And yeah, in most of the cases we do, I mean, I'm talking for my students and myself, what I have seen, that was not really a big issue, but sometimes, yeah, you can see something as well. I mean, I can recall one case where that was really a bad situation, and that student has taken another half a year actually to, yeah, how should I say, shape it in a proper way. After the similarity report comes back, usually the integrity officer will write a report. At some university, the supervisory team has to check that and to write a report whether everything is okay or not. So that's stage. And here I just put another, let's say, stage, because at some universities, there is another, let's say, quality check, and that is called internal thesis examination. And that is many, many times done by the ADR or graduate school dean or something like that, or some subject matter experts within the university. So that can happen as well, that some of you will go through that test before the English language and similarity test. So think of that. But all those, once again, see all those actually tests or checks or whatever it is actually as a really good thing to improve your thesis, to get it ready for examination. That's the idea behind it. The more actually feedback you get from more actually, let's say, experienced supervisors, experienced examiners, the better finally will be, and you will not be or shouldn't be actually nervous when it goes for examination. Okay, that was, as I said, the process when you can theoretically submit. Now, after you have received all of that, you are ready to officially submit it to the university. And that is kind of the next few slides. We'll be discussing what happens after you have officially submitted to the university. Any questions so far? I don't see too much of.
There's nothing in the chat section, no
Okay.
questions there.
So if not, what does this mean? That you are not so far yet, or that you don't even want to think about submitting, or what? I hope not. Okay. So come, if you have any questions, just come. So the next stage, as we said, now you have kind of submitted to the HDR office, to the postgraduate department. I don't know how it is called at your university, but you know what I mean. Then it will start, actually, the next stage is then the nomination of examiners. And examiners are always nominated in accordance with the university criteria. There is criteria which have to be fulfilled for the examiners to be, let's say, invited for examination. And in many universities, the supervisors together with the student are suggesting actually 4 to 5 different potential examiners. So student is usually part of it, but the student at the end does not know who out of those 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 has been selected as an examiner. So what's important? The examiners have an understanding about the topic and the methodology as well. Sometimes we even go and say, okay, this guy is really good in your methodology, so that's why we will pick her or him. On the other side, said maybe not really actually clearly understanding the topic, but close enough. So the other one, let's say, or the other two will be kind of covering the topic, and some of them will be covering methodology. So that's how we kind of think. And it has to have actually expertise within the field of the research. That's extremely important. And I'll show you with the next slide how we check that. Academic rank and level. Sometimes we just start with associate professors and full professors. Sometimes, let's say, assistant professors can be there as well. And as I mentioned, usually we suggest 3 to 5 examiners. And another thing which is important when we do that, there should be actually no conflict of interest. That means not with the supervisory team, as well as not with the student. So we go quite far and rigorous here. That really has to be done in a proper way. So nomination of examiners. That is, as I said, what we do together. That means supervisory team with the students. The next stage then is the selection of the examiners, because we have proposed them actually to the, once again, university PhD or HDR office. And there will be actually checking all those guys we have kind of selected, once again, based on the same criteria. And the criteria, once again, goes teaching area. So that means your examiners have to have experience in the, let's say, subjects. They have taught actually subjects from your area. They have to have actually clear record of publications in your research area. If they don't have that, or it is actually kind of 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something like that, we usually do not. I mean, I never propose somebody like that, but even in my role as ADR, I have never actually kind of accepted somebody like that. The next thing is extremely important: PhD DBA completing supervision. So how many have they had? Because when we ask them to send us their CVs, that has to be indicated there as well. So they have to have finished actually supervision. That means completed supervisions, as well as that they have experience in the examination. That's important thing. And here, you know, sometimes we think that the younger ones, let's say with less experience, are should I say nicer? Don't think that. Okay, it's rather the opposite. The old ones we are getting actually kind of nicer and nicer with age. So maybe you can pick some guys who are more experienced because they have seen so many different stuff, and they will even give you better feedback. And once again, no conflict on the interest. That has to be shown that, for example, the examiners, proposed examiners have not taught, let's say, at the university, have not published together with the supervisors, have no business or whatsoever relationship with students and so on. So that has to be documented and shown. It should really not happen that something like that, gets public, let's say, after a while. The next point is then, after that has been sorted out, that the university will kind of send out the thesis to the examiners. Is that now online? Is it offline? That depends once again on the university. In most of the cases right now, we have online, but let's say some of the examiners are still not happy with the soft copies. Some of them want to have actually kind of paper copies. Then you have to copy that and actually send it as hard copies to them. But as I said, the next stage, I mean, I discussed before that about the content and format that will be checked once again at this stage before it will be sent out. So that's kind of a few things you have to, not you actually anymore, but the university has to sort out before it is sent to the examiners. After that has been done, then the thesis goes to the examiners. Selected ones, as I said. Usually we have, it depends on the university. You can have 2 internal ones, 1 external. You can have 1 internal, 2 external. You can have actually 2 externals or 3 externals. It really depends on different universities how they do that. But definitely, I mean, it's written in the policies usually as well that the examination has to be taken on a confidential basis. That is actually for the examiners now, okay? So that has to be done totally on a confidential basis. On the other side, the student as well as the supervisors are not allowed to contact examiners during the examination process. Just no go. If that happens, actually that examiner should be kind of excluded, and it has happened. And the examiners came back to the university and said, kind of the student has contacted me. Why I'm actually so slow? You know, I should speed up. So I don't like that. I don't want to examine it even anymore. So find somebody else. But usually, you know, as I said, you should never do that. The supervisors as well as the students cannot. And usually, as I said, I mean, the students even don't know. I hope in generally most of the cases who is the examiner. And after the examiners have read and written the reports, they will come back with 2 different, let's say, parts of their report. The first part is usually about the recommendation, and you know the recommendations are once again different at different universities, but generally we are going with no revisions. We're going with minor revisions, we're going with major revisions, and we are going with fail. And there are some subcategories. For example, it can be, let's say, minor or major revision. And the examiners will say, I don't want to check let's say, the reviewed version. That is with the university. That means the university has to take that check whether everything has been answered, incorporated, and stuff like that. Some of the examiners, especially when there is a major revision, they might say, I want to see how the student will be actually addressing all my comments. So please send it to me. I will go through that once again in order to, kind of explain or kind of tell the student everything's okay or not okay, things like that. Okay, that's one part. And the second part is the written report, where we do write actually in detail what hasn't been done in a proper way. And these are kind of, let's say, these details have to be then clearly addressed by the student. If that's not done, as I said, usually that might cause some issues, and the nicest, let's say, or the less important cause would be that you will just reject it for a while and you will get another 1 month or something like that to improve your thesis once again, and then send it back for another, let's say, examination, whether you have done what was requested from you or not. Okay. After the thesis has been examined, the reports have been returned to the PhD or HDR office. Then a committee will actually meet. It can be called thesis examination committee, or just examination committee, or PhD examination committee, or something like that. And once again, depending on the policy of the university, even after the reports have come back, the thesis examination can make actually the decision, and kind of, as we said, major, minor, no revisions whatsoever, will actually communicate that to the student. In many schools, we do still have actually viva. So the examiner's report are actually coming back. After that has been kind of seen as okay, then the student will be invited for a viva. The examiners are part of the viva definitely as well. And once again, it depends. In different universities, part of the viva are the supervisors. In most of the universities, the supervisors are just observers, let's say, in the viva process. And after the students have presented their work and answered all the questions of the committee, then the committee will make the final decision about your thesis and outcome of your thesis. And usually, as I said, that will go once again with the same scale as I shared with you before. Usually we go with major, minor, no, or fail. And what does this mean for you as a student? That means another unpleasant, probably, situation, because I mean, you will always get something. That means you will be asked to revise, to improve actually your thesis once again, and depends, on the, let's say, efforts you will have to put in. You will get actually different periods of time to review and resubmit your thesis, and that in that point will be your kind of final thesis. Okay, so that is what happens after the submission. I guess I have captured most of it. Are there any questions to this part?
Nothing in the chat.
Yeah, I see. It's just unbelievable. I don't know.
Very quiet.
Are they so shocked with the process?
I think you may find a few just
or
absorbing all the processes.
Or is it, yeah, but as I said, the moment you are there, you are actually just before the finish line. So you shouldn't be kind of now getting disappointed or whatsoever or nervous. Just enjoy actually all that time after a lot of sweating. Okay.
Well, we have one saying, I read that you should send a thank you letter after the examiners issue their report. Is this appropriate?
See, Andrea, actually, you will not know who are the examiners before you have received actually their reports. And you have received actually their reports, let's say in this case, after the thesis examination committee has, let's say, revised them and sent the reports together with their decision to the student. At that point, you will get actually their names, or you will meet them during the viva. Okay. And after that, get actually their written as well as, let's say, written report based on your submitted thesis, as well as sometimes some comments to be addressed based on the viva. And then what you have to do, is actually you have to, as I said here, address all their comments. And in this case, then you will be kind of, while you will be writing and justifying your answers to their comments, you will be kind of addressing that what you just meant, that you thank them. You will say kind of, thank you, that was really a valuable suggestion, or thank you so much, this comment will really improve, and stuff like that, okay? That's the way how it goes. I must admit that I have never seen or have never even read about that a student would kind of send something after the reports came in. Definitely not. So I don't know what was that kind of the idea behind it. So that's how it usually goes. And I mean, you know, yeah, but we have, or we will actually probably, I don't know, repeat that seminar at one point as well, when I was talking how we do address the revision requested by the examiners. So if you go back to that webinar, you might see actually how we frame those answers to them, okay? So, and the last part, which will definitely make you even more unhappy, is how long does it really take? And let us go once again. The first part is talking about the submission, and then the next slide will be talking about the examination, let's say, time. The first thing is supervisor's feedback. It depends how often have you, let's say, discussed with them, how much do they know about it, how many chapters have they already reviewed, at what stage were the chapters, and things like that. As I said, that is linked to the process actually of your let's say, yeah, continuous work with your supervisors. But usually I would say 2 to 8 weeks. I still recall my feedback from my supervisor, and we were actually really in a good actually relationship. But I submitted it to him in early June, and I got it back mid-October. Okay, so that was a long time. But usually we are trying to be faster. So I have kind of set between 2 months and 2 weeks and 2 months. It depends, as I said. I hope let us try to go with the shortest possible version, and then depends on the revision you will have to make, you know, and that is actually kind of in your hands. You might be sweating another 2 weeks if that's not much, and you have been sweating before a lot. but up to, I would say, 3 to 4 months can happen as well if there are major things. But usually, as I said, if you do work together closely with your supervisor, that should be probably 3-4 weeks max. That's I mean, for my students, they have been working maybe 3 weeks, but not more. Then, as I mentioned, if that goes to the internal thesis examination after you have done that, it is once again between 1 and 4 weeks. We are trying to keep it short, usually is 1 to 2 weeks, but some of them, especially if that's actually kind of, let's say, examination period or something like that, it will take a little bit longer. Then you have English or language proofreading and editing services, usually 1 week to 10 days. So that's why I said 1 week to 2 weeks. Then you will be uploading that revised version. I mean, here I didn't include how long will you be now improving actually your English language, but that can be done if you don't sleep, probably 1 or 2 nights, can be done pretty fast. I hope in 1 or 2 days or something like that, because you are the one who want to actually go fast. So you'll be pushing yourself. Then it's a similarity plagiarism test, usually 1 day, sometimes 2 days. But the integrity officer or supervisory team has to write a report, and that takes usually another 1 week. And then you are there, kind of, okay? Then you are there that you get actually all the okays, and now you can theoretically, as we said, submit online to the university. And then from that day on, let's say the university takes care of the examination process. So you have done your submission, but if you count that together, I even don't want to count it, okay? It can take long. So that means you have submitted your final draft to your supervisors, okay? And even if you go with the shortest possible, let's say estimation of time, you are still, what's that, 5, yeah, probably 10 weeks or something like that. The shortest possible way, but it will probably take you a little bit longer. So yeah, it takes quite a while. And then don't get shocked with the next slide, please, because it will be another, what did we say here? 10 weeks, something like that, would be actually quite fast. And then we go. University submission, it should go fast. They usually do support their students and they do it fast. But I mean, I have seen a case where somebody was on vacation and there was no substitute, and just the submission took actually 4 weeks. It can happen, but theoretically, that is for me rather a short period of time. Then the examiners have usually, as per policy, 2 to 6 weeks, 2 to 8 weeks. And, you know, most of us are always waiting and just pushing away that. And when the week 6 or week 8 is really approaching, that weekend will be probably dedicated to that PhD. So do not expect that both or the 3 of the examiners will come earlier than during the last weekend, unfortunately. Then you have the thesis examination committee, which has actually another 2 to 4 weeks to write the report. After that, if you have viva, we said viva is not always there, but if you have viva, the viva has to be organized. It can go fast, especially now when we are kind of joining the viva via, let's say, internet. But before we had to travel. That means somebody had actually 3 to 4 days to travel actually and be personally actually at the viva examination. So that was long as well. Now we usually calculate 1 to 4 weeks actually to get it through. And then, as I said, you will get here the reports. At this point, you will get them. So it's up to you how long it will take you. That's really actually now in your hands. but it depends. What's that now? It depends. It depends. Yeah, as we said, how good your thesis has been done, how demanding the examiners were. As you know, actually, sometimes you get 1 month, sometimes you get 3 months, sometimes you get 6 months. Depends, let's say, on the requested improvements, and sometimes there's even up to 1 year that you have time to resubmit. That means the committee thinks that you have to work so much that you have, or that you need probably up to 1 year. Okay. After you have sent back your thesis, that has to be checked. In case the examiners have requested, okay, the examiners have requested that they do see it, it will take additional probably 3 to 4 weeks. If not, the university will take care of that, and usually it, hopefully, let's say another 2 weeks. And then you have the submission of the finished thesis, and that goes quite fast. Is once again in the hands of the university. They do some checks once again, usually 1 week, and then it's depends what is the cycle of the graduation. If you were actually lucky, then it will be quite soon. It might happen that you will be, getting your gown and be actually there at the graduation ceremony within 1 week. But sometimes you can be unlucky, and that might take up to even 6 months before you really get your degree and all the congratulations. So I guess nobody will ask now any questions yet, because I have destroyed all the aspirations of getting it actually true in a really short time.
We have a question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned a person viva. Do you think the viva via Zoom or some other remote or conference portal will be used in the future as a standard as opposed to in person? I can answer that in part. Some universities do it via something Leaf. They do via an audio-visual closed room. And I'll leave you, Dr. Boston, for the rest.
Yeah, see, it depends on the universities. I recall when I was, let's say, working in Europe, everything was in person. After Corona, things have changed. And now we have actually had the proposal presentations. We have had actually the PhD, viva, everything online. So that has changed. If that will stay forever, I cannot tell you, but I will say that in most of the cases, it will be probably a combination. That means the one who is able to come will come in person, and the ones, let's say, especially the examiners who are, I don't know, sitting on another continent, might probably join via Zoom or something, because it is a cost for the university as well. So my expectation is rather that they will not pay the travel costs anymore, but will kind of try to keep it as low as possible. So I would say the guys from far away will not be flying in anymore. Yeah, I don't know if that was actually the answer, but that's how I see it. On the other side, it's a nice thing actually to have viva in person. For me, it doesn't matter as an examiner or as a supervisor. That is really a nice event actually. And it is. I mean, I'm talking now for my personal views. I feel actually, how should I say, more excited, better. It resonates actually much stronger when I'm there, because you see actually all those emotions and stuff like that. yeah, using Zoom or something like that, that's not there. So from my perspective, as I said, I would rather have it in person, but probably it will not happen because it is cheaper, faster, and it serves the purpose. That's my view. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, kind of the last slide. I hope you will never give up, and definitely not because of the, I mean, you should never give up anyway, but don't think giving up because of that long and a little bit unpleasant and whatever process of submission and examination, because at one point you will be graduating. I can assure you that. And then that means that you are there, that you will be kind of, as I wrote it here, stepping into eternity, and you will be kind of forgetting all that unpleasant stuff. Definitely you will not be forgetting the sweating and work and all the knowledge you have kind of gained, but you will definitely forget the waiting time and process of submitting and things like that. But the viva resonates, and the graduation resonates forever. And that's for all the future time. Okay, that's it from my side right now. First of all, let us go to any questions or discussion or whatsoever you might ask or you would like to know in more detail. Welcome to ask questions, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Doctor, for the presentation. I think on my end, I'm currently at that stage when the final submission is gone to the university. And by looking at your presentation, it gives me a bit of assurance of where do I stand, what's coming next. I think it was pretty well presented, and I see exactly from the stage one of the process that you were saying what you need to do before submission, and then step two saying submission is there, what's next. I think your presentation gives me assurance on that extent. Thank you very much.
Gives you assurance that you will finally be graduating. That's what you wanted to say. Is
exactly,
that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
But it's just, the whole process. It's that stage where you've done everything, and then you get all of the comments from the first, the second supervisor. You do your best, you run it through, as you say, all of the necessary changes and revisions you need to do. But then after that, it's a bit of quiet time. So at the beginning, you can use it to rest a bit, but then your mind keeps, thinking.
No. I do not agree with you. I do not agree with you. Don't spend time resting, okay, and waiting what's going to happen. At that stage, 1 or 2 weeks. No, at that stage, you're okay. 1 or 2 weeks, okay, max. But at that stage, you are actually pretty in a good mood, and you are not so really happy with everything what's going on because it takes so long. So start preparing papers, okay? Yes, that's the best idea. That is the best idea, I would say, to keep you calm and keep you how should I say, connected to your PhD and doing something good. So don't just wait, do something.
No, for sure. It was more like a pressure release, so to say, that you've done up to that step. But then for sure after that, it's the journey is not over, so you need to be prepared for what's next.
Definitely, but as I said, start thinking about the papers.
And with Francisco, it's actually prepping for his viva.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So we submitted, he hasn't had his viva yet, so it's preparation point.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, yeah, okay, I will not go into that right now, but the viva, I mean,
don't scare Bastian, don't scare now Francisco.
No, that's what I wanted to say. I said, in case you have done everything, by yourself, you have really sweated and something else, actually a lot. then viva is actually not an issue. That goes zack, 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 and you are enjoying it. You are enjoying that you can actually show your knowledge, that you can show your project, actually your results and everything. That's really the enjoyment. That's probably the culmination of everything. And that's why even I'm actually supporting that we are kind of having the viva, because it gives you another dimension actually of your PhD. You know, not just sending it out, somebody to read it and actually give you feedback, but no, you can show actually that that's your work. You have done it. You can present it. You can defend it, whatever they ask, you know it. So no worries. Viva is always a perfectly fine day actually.
But a very important message that you have been passing along, and it's worth it to stress, is that it takes time. Yeah, because often students start kind of counting backwards from when is the deadline of submission, or of how long do they still have to be within the programs, and exactly be mindful, because there are things that are outside of the student control. So, and things take time, basically. So last minute actions after so long of investment are likely to be not advisable, basically.
Oh, I mean, once again, it takes time, you know, and we had actually issues when the students were getting nervous and more nervous, and they were actually sending emails all around the world just in order to, I mean, you cannot speed it up. That's it. It takes, I mean, yeah, I agree. You know, sometimes universities had actually issues as well. I recall once I was actually part of the TEC, and a lady went for a sabbatical, and before that was kind of cleared, you know, it took, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. And that things like that are not appropriate. I agree with that. That's not fair towards the students, but it can happen. So just relax. And as I said, think of writing papers or something else, because you will never really relax. Okay. So you have to do something. You doesn't make to go actually for a vacation or something like that, because you cannot go for such a long time to a vacation. Anyway, do something and stay kind of sharp related to your PhD. That's what I would say. It takes time. It takes too much time. I agree with that as well. But you know, universities have their own procedures. They will not move too much, and yeah, unfortunately, you have to deal with that. And yeah, on the other side, you know, I don't know. No, I will not say that, but it's okay. Yeah, you will make it anyway. But as I said, recall that what we have discussed today, it takes a long time, even after you have sent it out or uploaded it actually to the system. And you cannot change it a lot. It's not in your hands. Okay, cool. Any other question? If not, then yeah, you know us anyway, probably how we can support you. If you don't know yet, just go to our homepage and check a little bit how we can support you in different ways to make it a little bit easier and maybe even a little bit faster. Here are some of our next events, which are coming during the next few weeks. See, we are actually there all the time, even too much, I would say. But yeah, that's okay. So join us. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to come and discuss with us. Every single question you might think of, we'll be trying to give you a good answer and support you. And the last part, I mean, I guess, I don't know, I have spoken too long, probably. Once again, I'm sorry for that, but I would like to say something is, yeah, don't sleep and I don't know, just wait that the time will come. You should get familiar with the process of submission and examination as soon as possible, because that will kind of calm you down a little bit and yeah, save some of your nerves. So do that, check it how it goes, ask the HDR office. They will usually support you. Usually they're actually really nice ladies there who are helping you and trying to give you as much support as possible and try to push it through. And they're usually fighting for you as well, you know, that the things are going smoothly through but they cannot always do that. Is that correct? So yeah, that's from my side everything, I guess. Do we have something else? Discussion, questions? We have done that in a way. If there are no additional questions, I will
No,
probably...
there's nothing else coming up. We do have the talk to the professor, which starts at it's 1:30 here, so it starts in about 20-25 minutes.
You want to say that I have some time to eat something?
That means you have
Maybe
time
we
to
can
have a cup
continue
of
as
coffee or
well.
something to
We
eat.
can continue as well if you want to. I'm fine with that.
Has anybody got any questions or any aspect they want to discuss?
Everybody's
I
just
should
shocked.
have said perhaps we stop the recording.
Okay.
Yes, I shall do. My apologies.